Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Tech Talks. This is Ryan here, and this week we're going over SampleTank 4. We're going to go over mainly how to write and use MIDI. We're going to go over different routing techniques and different ways to write MIDI, for example, like the Jammy guitar, which I'm not going to be demonstrating today, but all of the MIDI that you're hearing today was actually recorded on this guy. So it's really interesting how this thing works. It's a MIDI guitar, so it sends all of your different frets. Sorry. My cat's loving the tripod. But yeah, the Jammy, essentially, you don't have to learn a new instrument. So keyboard players are no longer the only people who can have fun in the MIDI world. With SampleTank 4, you can pretty much play any instrument just by using the Jammy and only know, say, your basic guitar chords. So it's really cool, and it helped me write a bunch of different unique tracks. So let's go over, we'll do some audio demos real quick. All right. So you can see on screen here, like usual, let's start off with the DAW setup. So the most important thing for me is going to be the ACO driver selection here and the buffer size. So I'm not playing live like I usually would have a guitar. So I'm going to crank this guy up to 2048. So that's pretty high. There would be latency if I was playing in real time, but I'm not. I'm going to mainly write things out. When I recorded this, I was at 128. I didn't have to go that low. You don't need to go to a 64 buffer size to actually be able to play. And thank you guys all for tuning in. I'm seeing a bunch of great greetings in the chat. Make sure to stay tuned to the very end of the episode. We're giving away SampleTank 4 SE at the very end, so you're going to be able to use all this awesome gear. And make sure you guys like and subscribe. We do giveaways every week, so if SampleTank 4 isn't your bag or you don't win, there is going to be more chances to win some gear. So let's go ahead and take the dive. So we want to pick our buffer size here. 2048, and I'm going to use ACO for Windows. Mac, you don't really need to worry about that, but you do want to make sure you have the drivers for your device. If you don't have your drivers and you're using, say, MME DirectX or just the class compliant drivers, you might have a bad time, or you might not have the best time that you, compared to what you could. So let's dive into the MIDI setup. Notice I only have my AXIO on track. I don't have the Jammy connected. Track is going to allow me to write MIDI and control the track parameters like VIs, virtual instruments. So let's go ahead and we're going to take a listen to this acoustic guitar. I'm going to show you guys exactly what we did here. And remember, everything here was written with the Jammy. So right here, this is all MIDI, but it is a guitar. Let's go ahead. Oh, there it is. It would help if I had my SampleTank track on. So let's go ahead and try that. So you can see, very realistic, very lifelike. If this was hidden in a mix, or if I drowned this in a bunch more effects, because I kind of kept this natural, I just loaded the instrument. I didn't do anything too crazy because we're focusing on MIDI. And look at this. You can see the voicings, how they space out like this is really cool. And that's all just because of the Jammy and how interesting that little instrument is. So let's go ahead and check out what that is in SampleTank 4. And I'm going to show you how that's routed. You know, typically I show you guys in the arrangement view how this works, but let's go ahead and we'll jump into the mixer view. So you have an IO setup. You can see it says MIDI from and then MIDI to. So that's going to be your input and output section. So what we're doing is let's create a new track. We're going to create a new MIDI track. And all I've done for all of these different tracks is go to my MIDI output. You can select the SampleTank 4 brain when the SampleTank 4 instrument is on a track. You need to have it inserted. So you go ahead and select that, and now you have all 16 inputs. And now if you're not familiar with SampleTank, let's take a look and see exactly how those correlate. So you can see here I have 8 different instruments, but if you keep going, it does scroll down to 16 different instruments, and that's what you have these 16 different MIDI inputs for. And you can change the MIDI channels right here by clicking and dragging. So I haven't done any of that today, but if you wanted to, you could layer 2 different sounds using the same MIDI really quick. All you need to do is change the MIDI channel by clicking and dragging. So if I wanted to instead play this performance on the Brandenburg piano, I could. I'm not sure it's in the right octave, so I'm not going to do that. But let's go ahead and let's listen to the Brandenburg piano real quick, and then I'll go over some more of the routing and how we got here. One thing I want to mention about MIDI and how cool it is that you can actually go ahead and write left and right hand for the piano, and that's what I did with the Jammy because I'm not playing a piano, and I wanted it to sound like a piano, and I had to pick my notes very carefully. So check this out. It was actually really easy to do. It sounds complicated. And you can hear that that's sustaining up. I have my Jammy right here for all of those who want to see it. This thing is awesome. It's actually on sale right now. I believe the original cost is $4.99, so you can get this for $479.99. And so super, affordable for what it is. If you're going to go buy a guitar, this essentially has a whole world of instruments at it in your hands. Super easy to use. Now, if you are a keyboard player and you're in a SampleTank, you can still do that. I do have a keys mini right here, which is really cool. It's only $100, and it actually gets you into the VI group buy that we have going on this month. So check that out. So essentially, I've written all of this stuff with the Jammy, and that's insane how it sounds like I'm playing a piano. I'm going to play that one more time just so you guys can just listen back. I couldn't believe how I got that to sound like that so quick and easy just by playing a couple chords. I think I played a power chord. Realistically, you can play a couple power chords, and instead of being stuck in one genre, because traditionally you'd think power chords would be rock, you can take it to a whole other world. Check this out. There's only a couple of notes going on here. I'm going to play it so you can see it. So you can see how that's going. It's very simple melody with the right hand, and just a very basic 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 on the left hand. So just think like a piano player, and you can actually write this stuff really quick. Sorry about that. All right, so the next thing I have here is vibes. Now, before I jump into that, I'm going to explain one more time how we routed that. You see my Brandenburg piano here. I have not changed that. That is the setting from there. From the actual piano. This right here is the page where you load all of your instruments, and you can find that a couple of different ways. So check out this X. You can close that. If you select any of these load instrument slots, you will find this page. You can also exit it by clicking this guy right here. This is going to bring you back to the page. Now, these are going to be this page changes. This is not a layer that pops on top of it, right? So this is going to switch to our layers page, our mixer page, where we add all these different effects. You can see there's convo room, acoustic resonance, which is a really cool one, EQ comp, and all of this stuff. But yeah, so you have the mixer, you have your layers, which is really cool for MIDI. Also, if you guys aren't familiar with this, this is going to allow you to play, say, one keyboard and control an entire orchestra really easily. And all of this stuff you can load into presets with this nice little, this is your multis. So this is going to be multiple instruments. So you can select an individual instrument or a group of them right there. And then you also have a live mode. Now, I'm not going to dive into live mode too much, but essentially you can use program changes to recall any of your different instruments, and it saves, I I think it loads to your RAM, so it's super quick when they pop back up. But SampleTank 4 actually does use a streaming engine. Sorry about that. So it's a little bit different than SampleTank 3. The streaming engine does allow the sounds to load much faster, and we're able to do a lot more stuff with them. So let's go ahead and we'll check out the studio vibes clean. So you can see my MIDI channel is 3. Let's check out our I/O setup. We are going out to SampleTank, Brain, and we're going to channel 3. That's going to be here. Cool. And at the end, we're going to recreate this just so you guys can see it from scratch. And don't forget, guys, we are giving away SampleTank 4 at the very end of this episode, or SampleTank 4 SE. So create an IK Multimedia account now. We're just going to ask a simple opinion-based question with you and ask you to leave your IK username at the end. That's how we're going to add the serial number to your account. That's your entrance fee. So let's go ahead and let's take a listen to these vibes. Again, written on the Jammy. Now, this is also, I believe, very similar to a power chord. You could see there's, I believe my mod mentioned the rule of fifths. Or parallel fifths, that's what it was. Okay. But yeah, you can see how the notes line out here. I'll write some from scratch. If you guys haven't seen, we did go over how to write some moto bass from scratch. So that's a physically modeled bass instrument, and you can write all the bass completely without a MIDI controller. We also did it for moto drum, so you can replace your drummer nice and easy. Drummer's a very important part of the band, but moto drum does make things much easier. So let's check out what's going here with the vibes. So we're going out SampleTank 4 Brain. We're going to channel 3, and then let's go to our SampleTank. Pop him open, and you can see again channel 3. And I just want to just reiterate that as many times as I can. You know, that's the channel that's going to accept from here. So if I send this on the wrong channel, you're not going to get any input, right? But let's say I want to load a different instrument. I'm not sure what I'd want to load. Let's see. Okay, there's the same instrument that I have, the studio vibes, but there's some modifiers on here. I think that means modulation, and you have tremolo. I like the tremolo. Let's try the tremolo. And you have this nice little macro thing right here, so if you don't like that, you want to crank up some highs. And these are really useful for when you're trying to fit something into the mix and you're not trying to go crazy with it. Insane amount of control there. The drums are really cool in SampleTank. I did want to do some percussion, which you can do with the Jammy as well. I had some djembes written out earlier, but I decided to stick with the notes because we're actually going to go ahead and let's stick to the MIDI, and we're going to start from scratch here. So at 4:30, we're giving away SampleTank 4 SE. So go ahead and make an IK Multimedia account now so you can enter to win. We're going to ask a simple question, and you just have to throw it in at the end. And make sure you guys like and subscribe, because if you don't win today, we do these all the time. We do a live stream every day at 4 p.m. On YouTube, we are live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 4 p.m. And on Instagram, we're live every day at 5. Check out our complete live schedule on the website, and you can actually check out some previous videos there, which is cool. So cool. Let's go ahead. We're going to start from scratch here. And instead of... let's just go ahead, and I'm going to delete all of these guys right here. So you have a MIDI track. What do you want to do? You want to throw a SampleTank 4 in it first. Now you have your brain, and I like to just keep him as SampleTank 4. Sometimes I call him the brain, but then I immediately add a MIDI instrument. So now what's my first MIDI? I'm not quite sure. Let's just go ahead and write something simple like a piano. So we're going to route this to my SampleTank 4 track, and then we're going to route it to input 1. So now if I make a MIDI track right here, I can drag him out. And I'm using Control-J just to join all of that. It just crops it for me. It makes a nice, easy palette for me to write. And I'm in Ableton Live 10 if you guys are not familiar. So let's go ahead and we'll load an instrument. So when you pop SampleTank open, this is what you see. You will not hear any sound. You'll see the keys moving if you're playing MIDI, but you will not hear any sound, and that's because you don't have an instrument loaded. That's completely normal. So let's go ahead and we'll pick an instrument. We'll use our filters here. Let's see, I have a couple of libraries here. I don't have them all, but the VI group by is a great chance if any of you guys are missing any sounds that you really want to jump in. I believe we're buy one, get two free right now. Or Mod would know better. So let's go ahead. We'll grab a soft grand. And this is from the Imperial Alan Parsons library. So this is the Imperial piano. Imperial grand piano, sorry. The reason I call it a brain is kind of like a MIDI thing from back in the day. You used to have a module, like a brain that had all your sounds, and you sent MIDI to it. So essentially it was the brain, and then you had the controller, which was whatever, a keyboard. They do some woodwinds and stuff like that sends MIDI. Or you can use something like this awesome Jammy. That's why I call it the brain. And like drum brain, it just kind of stuck with me. So let's go ahead. We loaded this up. We have SampleTank for our brain. I'm going to use that a couple of times. So nice and loaded. Let's see if we get some sound. So I'm on channel 1. No transposition, nothing crazy. And I just want to write a simple chord progression. We'll just go with, we'll start in C major. If you guys aren't familiar with C major, it's nice and easy. There's no black keys. It's all white keys. It is just C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So we're just going to write a chord progression. Super easy. I'm not going to go crazy. We're not writing a song, but I do just want to show you guys how to get some MIDI in here. So let's go 1, 4, 5, and let's not make this too long. I don't want to go too crazy. Now, if you guys aren't familiar, again, I just cropped it. So let's go ahead. We're going to go 1, 4, 5 in our C major. So it is C, D, E, F, and G. So C, F, G. Let's go ahead C. We'll throw an F down there, and then we'll throw a G, and then let's bring it back to C. Let's just hear how it sounds. Let's actually bring it back to the F, right? Nice and easy. I'm going to bring this down a couple of octaves so we have a nice little bass note. And when you're writing MIDI, you really want to kind of accent certain notes. So I want to come in a little bit soft, and I'm going to hit this next one just a little bit more aggressive, come back down. Now you see I'm barely even moving anything. And I also kind of want the second note to just come back a tad bit. Let's see if we even hear that. Sometimes I put these things off time, and you can really hear it, and I go back. Control Z is your friend. All right, so let's make a chord. Let's go ahead and we're going to copy this guy. We're going to go up an octave, and just think your right hand on the piano. If we're going to play a chord, I'm going to put my octaves down first. So let's go ahead C2, and we'll put an octave up. Nice and easy. You can see I just built what seems to be a chord, but we need to add a middle note in there, the third. So let's go ahead and throw that in there. Right, so I'm just kind of going to steal this, and I don't necessarily need to figure out the next chord, but if I start on an F, let's just see how it sounds. I don't see any sharps or flats. It looks like it's fine. So let's listen. Right, and then let's just go major again, but we'll go to the G, and we'll just go back to the F. All right, so super easy. And if we're writing piano, see he rushed there a little bit. I'm usually going to grab my top fingers here, and I'm going to roll them back a little bit because you're kind of rolling your hand onto the piano. And then let's grab the second highest note, these guys. And just like that. Right, so something really easy, and then you can even then think about what would you do with any other time that you had on your hands as a piano player. I would probably bounce from my octaves, just 1, 2, 1, 2. So if we were to write some MIDI out for this, I'd probably just go a bunch of quarter notes. Let's see how this sounds. You can see I did offset myself there. So Now this is very basic, and I'm just showing you guys the concept of just how you can write some MIDI in. You can also just simply press record arm on this track, and it'll allow any MIDI controller that you're using. If you don't have a MIDI controller, iRoot Keys 2 Mini would be a really good start, because you're going to get a bunch of great software, and you're also going to get into the group buy. So check this out. So super fast. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and we'll half time it, and I'm going to bring every other note down. And on the first one, I'm going to throw a bottom. And let's actually throw him down here. So let's check that out. Actually, that's a little bit too low for me. So let's bump him. We'll actually throw this guy up a whole octave, because I'm going to just shift over on the piano. All right, and now I can just cheat my way over here. Since I'm just using major chords, I'm not going crazy. You can seriously get into some theory if you want, but you don't have to. And check out our other SampleTank 4 video that goes over all the different players and how you can use the strummer, the arpeggiator, and all these different tools. I'll show you guys them in SampleTank. But that's how you're going to get some MIDI straight into SampleTank. Ooh, you guys heard that awesome note right there. What was that? He was an E when he should have been an F. And he was a G. Ah, okay. I messed up there. It's usually my fault. Now, so you have MIDI here. Now, let's say if I wanted to even go crazy and add a second instrument. Now, I'm going to let's throw strings. I'll put singular string, because it's already there. Now, check this out. I'm going to mute my piano. So now my piano is not going to play. We're going to go back to SampleTank 4. And I'm going to load an instrument. So click the load instrument. And let's go ahead. And I said strings, right? Let's see. Do I have any? I have live strings. Okay, so this is like an orchestra kind of thing. So this will be kind of cool. But in a couple minutes here, in 5 minutes, we're going to give you guys a question. It's going to be just a general question. All we need is your IK username at the very end. So go ahead and create an account if you don't have one. And we're going to give away SampleTank 4 SE. So we're almost there. And you can come back and watch this later when you have your nice new fancy software. So check this out. I loaded my strings. Ooh, a little hot there. Okay, let's turn him down. Now let's say you don't really know what you're doing when it comes to writing MIDI. You don't have a MIDI controller, but you still want to play. Let's throw him here. What you could do is go to this page, and I'm just going to briefly explain this. So this is your edit page, then you have your effects page, and you have your players page. So in your players page, you have phraser, strummer, and arpeggiator. Arpeggiator is pretty self-explanatory. Strummer helps you play like a guitar player, a little bit like the opposite of the Jammy. So if you're a keyboard player but you want to play guitar, similar kind of thing. So then you also have phraser. So phraser is just going to be a bunch of MIDI loops. And you can see I have some stuff here. Actually, we have a really nice American acoustic one. So let's go ahead, and instead of, I'm going to replace my live strings here. We're going to go American acoustic, and this is actually one of the really good ones that's in the group buy. We're just going to pick a simple pick sound, right? If you notice, when I pick a library, it only shows me the categories in that library, so I can easily navigate and find an instrument. There's a nice little description here, and you can press the favorite if you like it to just navigate by favorites. Awesome little tool. I didn't know that for a little while, so I'm really excited to just show you guys those little tiny details. You also have this little search tool if you're not too familiar with it. We used to have a folder view in SampleTank 3. Click this guy and you'll have it back. I'm not going to click it right now, but you also have some cool options up here. So sorry for getting sidetracked, but let's grab American acoustic. We're just going to grab something nice and easy. Easy major 1. I like that. That sounds good to me. Now, when you drag any kind of MIDI clip into a DAW, what it does is it asks if you want to insert the tempo, because MIDI tracks have tempo. So let's go ahead. Yeah, why not? I'm going to delete my piano from earlier. Let's go ahead and we'll just loop that and see how it sounds. I'm going to join it together just so I can look at it a little better. Ooh, that looks funky, but let's see how it sounds. Now, you notice I don't have any audio. Immediately, I completely forgot. So all you have to do is route this guy out to SampleTank 4, track 2 for the right instrument, and you're done. You're set. So let's listen to that. Ooh, okay, sorry guys. So you notice how my tempo is all wacky over here. And that's solely because I was writing some stuff earlier. If you guys didn't hear the performances, go back and watch that later. But I'm going to delete the automation from my metronome. Let's see. Let's try that one more time. Now, not my favorite pattern, but there's a bunch of really good ones in here. Let's say if we went to the suspended, and I'm going to instead throw this onto a key. So now if I want to just trigger this pattern, instead of throwing it onto the actual DAW, I could just press play here, or I can go down to the note that I assigned, and you can play it from there, which is nice and kind of cool, because check out this extra little tidbit. Okay, so you can kind of hear where I'm getting at, and you can do the same thing with drums. I think the drums are even cooler because you can add some groove to them. I was going to give you guys an example of the groove, but since it's 4:30, let's go ahead and let's ask the question. We'll let some answers roll in, and we'll keep going through some stuff to let you guys get your answers. So let us know in the chat box. We need your answer and then your IK username. The question is, what is your favorite VI in the VI group by right now? Now, if you're not familiar with the term VI, it means virtual instrument. What is your favorite SampleTank instrument inside of the VI group by? Sorry, I said that a little bit funky. So again, what is your favorite SampleTank instrument inside the VI group by? Go ahead and check out the link in the description. If you're not familiar what's in the group by, go ahead and shoot your answer in the chat box. That's your entrance. We're just going to add it straight to your account. Thank you guys Thank you guys in advance for your participation. You guys always do great, and the engagement between the question is always my favorite part. So let's actually go ahead, and I'm going to dive in and do what I said. Let's grab some drums. Now, the EDM kit. It's a really nice one. I prefer... I don't always go for EDM, but when I do, this is a really nice one to have. Now, it's on my second channel. Let's go ahead and let's start fresh. Let's go ahead and we'll initialize. What does that do? It completely removes everything, effects. Because if you didn't know, there's nice little lock icons, so you could save your effects from one instrument and load a different instrument. Or you can lock your phraser from one instrument to another instrument. Just very useful when it comes to trying to dial in a perfect sound. And with MIDI, that's really important. So let's go ahead and load that again. You saw how fast it loaded. So you notice some patterns already listed here. That's kind of cool, right? Okay, so very, very EDM, poppy kind of stuff. So let's just check out. I wanted to show you guys the quantize that turns on the swing, right? And it's not going to sound that great on guitar, obviously. It was a bad choice. But let's try it out here. So much better. Now I like that. I didn't originally love that sound, but let's try it again with another loop so I could show you guys what I did. And again, throw your answer into the chat box as soon as you can. We want to hear what's your favorite SampleTank instrument in the VI group by right now, and we want to hear your IK username at the end. That's where we're going to add the serial number when you win. Now, let's try that one more time. So to me, it just brings so much life to the groove just immediately. It's insane, and how quick and easy you can do it. There's also these instruments or these keys up here. I'm a big fan of playing the keys on my keyboard. Now, how am I doing that? You can see I'm on the SampleTank 4 track, and it's record armed. Now, it's only going to send to channel 1 on here. So if I load something on channel 2, it's not going to play. And that's what a lot of people run into problems with. they end up not using the SampleTank 4 as like a brain and as a module like you would, if you had an actual module or a MIDI brain or a sound module. I'll say that. But then record arm right here sends it through. So let's go ahead and use this track instead. So we're going to SampleTank 4, channel 1, bam, record arm. Right? Cool. So that's it. That's the record arm. So you saw how to manually write some MIDI. You heard what this guy can do. It turned me into a piano player. I'm not a piano player. It even helped me play the vibes a little bit more naturally than I would my nice little keyboard up here, because if you guys have watched my previous videos, I might write everything out manually. And this kind of helps you escape that a little bit, and that gives it some life, which is really awesome. I'm going to just keep this guy open so you guys can check it out. Remember, shoot us your answer in the chat box. We want to know what your favorite VI or your favorite SampleTank instrument in the VI group I is right now. Shoot that over. We're going to pick a winner soon. I saw a really good question, and my mod just pointed out. He wanted me to take a look. Can you make the strumming more aggressive? Now, particularly with the phrasor, you're not going to have control over every single stroke. But let's say I wanted to go to my guitar track here. It's routed to track 2. Let's go ahead, and we're just going to pick a guitar. We'll go with the pick because you already know what it sounds like. Now, instead of, if you want to control the strum, use the strummer. Check this out. Load the strummer. Super easy. Can actually already load a preset, which is cool. There's a bunch of really good ones. Wonderful wall. All right, so check this out. This is how this page works, and a lot of people might not get this at first because it's a little weird to get used to, but once you do, it's so awesome. So check this out. You have 6 notes. What are those? Those are the 6 notes of the guitar. Oh, if you notice, I'm actually hitting the wrong keys. That didn't sound right. I didn't turn it on. You have to turn it on. Let's check this out one more time. Oh, I have to pick a chord first. My apologies. So this left side, you can pick your chords here, and you can pick any chords that you want. You don't need to have any musical knowledge. You can maybe Google a good chord progression and just throw it in here, or find one that you like in a song and just kind of go from there and learn your way around it to then make your own stuff. But yeah, check this out. So you pick a chord with this key, and then you're going to go ahead and you have your 6 notes. Now let's say I change my my chord. Here, sorry. Not sure what octave I'm on. Okay, there we go. All right, so check this out. This is my next chord. And then sometimes if it doesn't have the bottom note, it'll just give you a second one so it doesn't sound off or unnatural. Notice this is the downstroke, upstroke, and then you have a second downstroke here. And you also have a play for the current pattern loaded here. Check this out. All right, so this is the pattern. I don't particularly love patterns. I like to use these guys. And you can watch out the other SampleTank 4 video. It's really good on that. Guys, keep the answers coming in. Remember, what's your favorite SampleTank 4 instrument in the VI group by? Send your answer and your IK username, and you get your chance to win. So check this out. You can load pattern sets here. Now, there's Wonderful Wall. Let's load that, and we'll play it. And I'm going to control the different strums and how they work. Let's turn on latch so I don't have to worry about holding it. This isn't my favorite pattern. Let's pick something more picky, because I didn't pick an instrument that was necessarily going to be the most amazing for chords. I'd rather pick something that's sampled with chords. But here, let's go ahead. We'll pick a chord. I'll pick a pattern. And, oh, sorry. Turn the latch on. This went straight Old Western. Real easy. But the main point is that you have control of this huge strummer. So if you're not a big MIDI guy, and if you're not familiar with writing stuff in, you really don't have to. You can just use this guy. It's really cool. But yeah, so let's go ahead and let's get a couple more answers in here. Oh, good question. Would this work with my triple play? Yes, we actually we used to give away SampleTank 2 XL, and I think we gave away SampleTank 3 at one point with it. But it was the custom shop version, so the I believe the free version. You can also use SampleTank 4 CS completely free with it. It's new 4 gigs if you're not familiar. So if you use your triple play, it's really cool. And again, I just want to throw this guy out here. The Jammy is what we played everything earlier. If you didn't hear it, go back and listen to it. But let's go ahead. And we're going to pick our winner in just a minute here. That's to win a copy of SampleTank 4 SE completely free, added straight to your account. But let's go ahead, and I want to tell you guys about some of the promotions just really quick, because if you don't win today, you can go grab an awesome deal. The VI group buy, let's check it out. We're at 1,424 participants. That's only 326 people away from getting buy one, get 3 free. Right now it's buy 1, get 2 free. So it's going to be an insane deal, and we almost always get to the top tiers here because users just jump in. Check the link in the description for all of our promotions. This is a really good one. We do have some other stuff, so if you're not the biggest SampleTank guy, we have I think it's up to 50% off on some T-Rex modules. That's like T-Rex Max, Sunset, Studio Reverb, and then also the T-Rex tape machine. We have Amplitude Max down at $99 right now. That's a really good deal. And we also have Moto Drum with a different pricing option. It's now got Moto Drum SE, and there's a free trial. So if you haven't checked it out because you didn't get the demo, because we didn't have one at first, you can go grab that now and check it out, get into the whole world. We did a whole Tech Talks on writing MIDI from scratch, just like we did a little bit here, but definitely worth it. But yeah, so all of those great promotions, check the link in the description. Make sure you guys like and subscribe and tune in every week. We want to give you guys gear. We want to hear some engagement. If you guys want to give us any topics that you want to hear, shoot them in the chat, shoot them in the comments. Make sure to share this and let us know what you guys want to see. We want to share content that you guys are interested in, and really just make the best of this whole situation while we're still just getting out of this at-home period, hopefully. Will you ever add a tape machine effect into ST? So I didn't talk about the effects. While my mod picks our winner here, which should be very shortly, and if you haven't answered, throw your answer in to qualify. What's your favorite SampleTank 4 instrument in the VI group buy right now? So we have some Amplitude stuff. We have American Vintage T, which is like a little Fender. You got the Marshall, essentially. Cabinet, which is just going to be a nice set of IRs, close and far, on and off access, which is really interesting. Flexi amp, you have a jazz chorus, bunch of different stuff from Amplitude, which you know is going to sound good. You have crusher, distortion, lo-fi. Lo-fi is one of my favorite little guys. This is going to be like a filter control. Let's see. If you guys hear the genre lo-fi a lot, this is a very interesting tool for that. So the effects are really awesome. Yeah, and these are all included with every version. You get the SampleTank 4 free, you get these. So if you can use effects to make free sounds sound awesome, which a lot of people can, a lot of people are very good at just using the free stuff because you can. It's really good. You can use all these effects to make the sounds as nice as you can. And then when you want, you can expand to the higher quality instruments, which just have more samples. They're more in-depth. There's more sounds offered, stuff like that. But you don't have to, and there's a completely free version. Each one of these effects also does have a modifier, and you can set this to a source, which is going to be your macro control. And it's going to allow your macro to control your reverb time and by a certain amount. So you can say, just use your reverb to go from half to 100, or you want it to actually go down as you turn your reverb knob up. You can do anything like that. You can see it's like nice little rack slots. But awesome. It looks like we have a winner. Thank you guys all for participating. But it looks like our winner is Pablo Andres. Thank you so much for participating. You just won yourself a copy of SampleTank 4 SE completely free. It will be added to your IK account very shortly, if not by the end of the day. So keep an eye out and use the brand new IK Product Manager to download it. It's going to make your life a breeze. Click download, go walk away, and let it do its thing. There's a bunch of really cool sounds, so it'll definitely have a bunch of stuff for you to go through. Check this video out. We also have another SampleTank 4 Tech Talk, which goes over the strummer a little bit more in depth and other different tools. It's really a SampleTank 4 overview. But congrats again, and thank you guys all for tuning in. Without you guys, there would be no purpose to do this. So thank you guys for all your support and just keep making music. So we are wrapping up here, but I do just want to let you guys know that we are going live tomorrow and the next day on YouTube at 4 p.m. I have an awesome guitar lesson going on Thursday, and we have an awesome interview going on tomorrow with our guy Derek Floyd. He's always bringing in different artists and industry guys who really use this stuff, and they use it well, and they talk about how they use it. They go over how they got where they are. It's inspirational to listen to, and you get some really cool tips. So definitely check that out. And if you guys make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.